Hey folks, welcome back. My name is Krishna. If you're new to the channel, welcome. This time around, we're going to take a look at how you can draw vehicles that have flared fenders. And this also applies to other types of vehicles, but since I've already covered those in some previous videos, I thought I'd take a look at a strategy that I use for flared fender vehicles. And to start off, we'll just go ahead and start off by drawing a wheel. We've got the hubcap in the center. I'm going to make a copy of it by hitting Command J. I'll move it off. On a new layer, I'll draw my fender flare, so I'll just start off with some type of a curved base. So I've got something that looks like this. Alright, so what I'll do now is I'll select those layers, merge them together. And I'm going to draw this vehicle in a 3/4 front view. So I'll right click and I'll choose Transform Perspective. I'll hit Enter. And what I can do now is I can hit Command J. That makes a copy of the chassis. And I'm going to move this copy over. And I'm also going to go ahead and scale it down. Just enough to where I can see the two wheels. Now it looks like there's a lot going on here. So what we're going to do is we're going to shift select those layers and drop the opacity so we can understand the technique. So we've got basically both sets of wheels. And what I'm going to do is just draw a line that connects one wheel to the next. I'll create two vertical lines. I will connect the top of each of these curves together, and lo and behold, what I'm doing is I'm creating a box. And then I will similarly take this corner, extend all the way out to the third wheel, extend this up, and then go from one corner down to where the other fender flares. So I've got a box that looks something like this. And with this box, what I can do is I can divide it into thirds. This is obviously the first third is going to be the front of the vehicle. The second third is going to be the door. And the last third is going to be the back of the car. So I've essentially created a box here. I'm taking some shortcuts because normally when I draw cars, I'll actually start out with a box. But this video is really meant for those folks that seem very intimidated by drawing vehicles. If this is a little bit more challenging to build it up, this is kind of a shortcut that I think can save you some time. So let me just get rid of this. And what I'll do is I'll develop these wheels out a little bit more. Got this first wheel here, then I'm going to only see a portion of the back wheel. I'll see that fender. Draw the back fender. Draw the wheel. Give it some thickness. Now the back wheel here, the wheel that is on the far back corner, we may not see that too easily. I'll just kind of hint at it right here. And let's go ahead and add a bumper. Let's add a windshield. We'll add a door. And then we'll add a seat. And we can turn off the other two layers. So we have basically a very rough cut of this vehicle. And from here I can go ahead and start adding other details like, a grill, some lights, and start adding some shading, etc. So this gives me a pretty decent stab at drawing something that looks like a classic car. And what I can also do with this is if I want to make it look like it's actually moving, I can hit Command T, right click and choose warp, and start to just move it out towards the front. Give those wheels a little bit of an angle. Give it a little bit of a curvature. to make it look like it's actually moving pretty fast. I'll move these wheels back in like so. So I can hit enter. And now it just has this kind of forward momentum, much like you might see cars that are racing. So let's go ahead and repeat this technique from the top. We'll just do one more, and then I'll have a sped up video where you can kind of see how I'm doing this. So in this case, I'm just going to draw both sets of wheels. I'll draw some kind of fender. We'll go for like more of an antique car this time around. So I've got something like this. First step, hit Command T, transform tool, choose perspective. This time I'll just have it go in the opposite direction, like so. Hit enter, make a copy, move the copy over, hit Command T, make it a little bit smaller, and then on a new layer, let's drop the opacity of what these layers are. On a new layer, what I'll do is I'll just simply connect the top part of the fenders, connect the bottom part of the fenders. Essentially what I'm doing is I'm creating a box, kind of reverse engineering that box. And I can got the back fender, the front fender, and it'll have some thickness, right? And then we might actually have some type of a grill that will actually overlap. Maybe we actually have the body's just a little bit more pronounced. We have our windshield. We have our cabin with the door. And when we draw our wheels. Now when I draw these wheels, what I'm doing is I'm making a slight adjustment here where I make the wheel have a little bit of thickness where the front part of the wheel appears to be slightly thicker than the back. This just gives me that perspective, the proper perspective. Then I can draw the front wheel. Of course, I can give it some thickness. Then I can hide the other two layers. And I've got a basic, decent sketch that I can start to work from. Now, there's no substitute for actually practicing vehicles and understanding that box. But the goal of this video is to encourage those of you that feel very apprehensive towards drawing a car or a vehicle of this type, giving you some crutches, some tools that you can use so that it is achievable, right? If you can get this working, then with some practice, you'll be able to take that box and you'll be able to start drawing a car from, from scratch. This is actually a little bit of a cheat, but, in my own experience, drawing cars used to be very, very challenging and scary. And I think a lot of my students have felt the same way. They like to draw people and characters, but I think it's also important to know how to draw vehicles as well. And what I'm just doing here as I'm talking is I'm just cleaning things up so that you can see what this might look like. And again, you can use the warp tool, Command T, choose warp. And if you're feeling exceptionally lazy like I am, you can choose arc. And if you take this little square here, you can actually control the amount of curvature to give this a little bit more of a, it looks more like it's actually moving. Maybe it's actually, if we have some ground here, it's actually, driving super duper fast. It's going so fast that it's basically off the ground. So hopefully you found this to be of use. I will do a demo of this. I'll take a vehicle and I'll draw it from start to finish. So stick around. As always, thanks for watching the videos. Do appreciate your support. And let's get into it.